And one.
According to statistics from the FBI, approximately 6,216 crimes in the year of 2011 were based off of race, religion, ethnic origin, and sexual orientation. These crimes fall under a category known as hate crimes, crimes that are bias motivated. Men, women, and children are subjected to this kind of hatred, which can vary from bullying to murder. These crimes aren't your typical crimes. They are crimes stemmed off of homophobia, sexism, and racism. These crimes do several things to harm our country. Not only do they promote racial stereotypes and discrimination within our communities, but they also strike fear within minorities and take a damaging psychological toll on the victims. Because of this, hate crimes are an issue that needs to be addressed, and laws on hate crimes need to be strengthened. Many times, hate crimes bring about sexual and racial stereotypes, and for that reason, hate crime laws need to be strengthened. In one case on July 2nd, 6 Orthodox Jews were shot near Rogers Park in Chicago. A man named Smith drove by in his Ford Taurus and shot the men as they were walking home from worship. This isn't the only case against Smith. He also murdered an African-American basketball coach in front of his 2 children, and also murdered a 26-year-old Korean doctoral student while he was on his way to church. These crimes committed by Smith exemplified the racial aspects that are in these hate crimes. Equally important, hate crimes can strike fear within communities, and no one should have to fear for their life due to their race, religion, or sexual orientation. In the tragic case at Rutgers University, a man named Tyler Clementi killed himself after a roommate placed a video recorder in his room and taped a sexual encounter with another man. The roommate then streamed the video to several people on campus. Clementi eventually killed himself after he was ridiculed for his homosexuality. Ridiculed for his sexuality. Clementi eventually had to kill himself as a form of escape from the situation, and he shouldn't have had to do that if his roommate had not invaded his privacy and had respected his homosexuality. With fear comes psychological trauma, however, and that is another reason why hate crime laws need to be enforced. According to the American Psychological Association, hate crimes carry several damaging effects. They say that victims of violent hate crimes suffer from more psychological distress than victims of other comparable crimes. They are also at risk for developing a variety of mental health problems, including depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. This statement suggests that hate crimes carry more traumas than any of your average crimes, and for that reason, hate crime laws need to be strengthened. There are many people who oppose strengthening hate crime laws, and they put forth many arguments. They believe that some hate crimes are faked, and for that reason, the true nature of the crime cannot be assessed. They believe that many faked hate crimes go undetected every year because police are afraid of appearing politically incorrect by questioning the validity of the reported hate crimes. The few hate crimes that do go by that are faked in no way outweigh the severity of these crimes. Critics also believe that hate crime laws do not give equal justice to someone of another comparable crime. The Tribune Business News says that, in effect, hate crime laws confer exclusivity to some victims over others. This is not true because hate crimes do show increased trauma in the victims, and also hate crime laws are designed to punish those who are discriminatory. Given these points, it can be inferred that hate crime laws need to be strengthened. Hate crimes promote stereotypes and discrimination within our communities. They strike fear within our minorities, and they also take a damaging psychological toll on the victims. These crimes are stronger than our average crimes that are caused by jealousy and greed. These crimes are laced with bias and hatred, and for that reason, the laws on these crimes need to be strengthened. Contact your local state representative and let them know about the effects of these crimes, and urge them to keep promoting hate crime laws. Thank you.
Few questions?
Sophie?
How can a hate crime be fake? What does that mean?
So when I was researching, there was a case where an African-American woman claimed that a group of white teenagers defamed her property with racial slurs and things like that. But those things can actually be staged. Like, she can ruin her own stuff, and also because you can get insurance claims from that, if that makes sense.
So are defaming property, like that counts as hate crime?
It does if it includes racial slurs and things like that, because there are also times where synagogues had Nazi swastikas on their property, and that's also considered a hate crime. John?
So you mentioned like a person killing like an African American man.
Yeah.
So would that be considered a hate crime just because of his ethnicity, or?
Well,
Yeah.
that man who did kill those several people, he actually was affiliated with a white supremacist group, which is why they knew that this crime was bias motivated, because, like I mentioned, he killed an Asian man, he killed an African American man, and he killed a group of Orthodox Jews because of their religion.
And that's all we have time for. Good job, Megal.